Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to our last map of the night here on the B stream. 9 versus Monte has gone the full distance. Two teams that maybe you wouldn't have expected to see in the upper bracket, but both teams doing quite handily on their own map picks. Now neutral ground in Nuke, and with 9 winning the knife round, they start CT side to kick things off.
One of these teams at the end of the game are guaranteeing themselves a slot in the upper final, Yumi. 2 shots at a chance in Brazil, and Monte won it bigger, at least in the pistol for now. The Julies of Kylar is disconnected to the rest of this play. Losing his teammates towards outside, never going to be a good one. Mynio believes that maybe there's going to be some ramp pressure late in this round, but Monte, with dots scattered across the minimap and 9 dropping like flies, it's going to be a difficult pill to swallow. CT side, not off to the greatest of starts.
Yeah, Hades' position has been given up, so they know it's likely he'll come in through from main or the vents, and he'll opt for the former. Hades eventually sussed out by Boros. 3 kills from him so far this pistol. Kicked off the affair, maybe the one that finally calls it closed. Mynio trying to preserve what little he has. And of course go into a force buy the second round and invest into head armor with no real additional cost. 350 is not the most amount out of pocket. But a firm Monte round. Outside, they were heavy in presence, and they made sure that those 9 players got punished quick. We were in that 5-on-3 before the pistol round had even really got going. Oh, Mynio will take some damage, so that armor cannot be upgraded so easily, but he at least escapes with his life, as well as an extra little kill bonus to top it all off. It won't change the fact that Monte can get things rolling here on the attack.
Very important as well. I think Nuke, probably one of the more one-sided maps when it comes to distribution, right? CT side's a lot more favored than that of the T. So if the T side can get off to a good start, win the pistol, win the force buy, that's also very important because, of course, 9 aren't going to be exactly presenting this round with just USPs. They've gone for a big dive themselves. To go 2-3-0 up, you're already kind of halfway there to what's expected, right, typically, of a T side. And that's what's important for Monte right now. They've been given the chance. It's about converting. It's about keeping cool.
The thing to note as well is this was one of those maps that, especially when the A1S was the most dominant, people really looked at it and went, well, I mean, when you throw these outside smokes, you're just going to get spammed from main, and there's nothing you can do to fight back. T-sides would just tank the bullets to try and cross down secret. Of course, no silenced weapons here for 9 in this round, so when they threw those smokes outside, Monte were given free access, and they've shown a little bit of their hand. Glass broken. They prioritized a little hut control and making sure there's no one lurking around lobby, but Monte didn't linger for very long. Does allow them a safe plant, and yeah, here's the thing. You invest in these weapons, you haven't got what you asked for. Finding 1 kill on the exit and just simply skirting off away and holding these weapons, it's a similar approach to what we saw Monte do once upon a time. You can just simply give another go at it in the follow-up round.
I find it really interesting as well how good the Monte pistol conversion is on Nuke. If you filter, I'll just say minimum 8 maps played, just to be on the safer side, right? They're actually like top 6 in terms of most pistol rounds converted, like highest rate of pistol conversion. It is actually quite crazy to see. Decent round 2 conversion as well here on Nuke. One of the stronger percentages in sort of the top 20. It's intriguing. I do enjoy, diving into these stats because obviously I think the most recent and most obvious revelation, I think, I forget who was tweeting about it, right? Might have been Prof from HLTV, don't quote me on it, but he was saying that G2 currently 20-0 in pistol rounds or round 2 conversions. Like, they have such a strong rate in terms of performance. Those rounds are making a massive difference, and you're seeing the success that they're having on a tier 2 level where teams are a lot more sporadic. If you can kind of root the problems down of your pistols and your follow-ups, you can already see the benefit, right? Monte are going 2-0 up on T side of Nuke, probably going to be 3 as well because this is an eco from 9. Like, this is a big jump already for Monte. Getting the first few rounds under their belts is very vital, very important to a T side.
Yeah, that stat you bring up almost reminds me of that time where Complexity were one of the best teams at winning force buys because they would actually lose a lot of pistol rounds, but also would have a considerable amount of break rounds. Interesting trends to take note of, especially as we get into the start of this season. Dayoung does get found outside. Kai will be the one that is the discoverer. doesn't always come away with a kill when you find somebody, funnily enough. Sundayong eventually does get dropped, and it's down to a 2-on-2, where these weapons that were carried over from the round prior are certainly having their influence. Over the ramp they'll go. They know where mynio is. They have suspicions on where Hades was last located, and while he dove down the vents, he's still not convinced it's going to be a B play. Now we'll make some noise in dropping down, but mynio's already there to cover. Demq cut out of the round, and Waro on that plant. He knew that Hades had to be coming through that smoke, but mynio does it all by himself. 3 kills to the tally, and they break past that Monte conversion. Sure, they may have lost round 2, but those force bolt weapons still have their impact in round 3.
I guess, you know, if you want to really nitpick away at the Monte positives, it's that they've got enough money, Yumi. You know, you can buy AKs, but as you said, you kind of lose to a round that technically is an eco. Sure, you have a couple of save guns. I'm calling it an eco, Yumi. Nine don't invest anything into the present round, and they walk away with a couple of rifles. They walk away with a bomb defuse. They walk away with their first. But now it's about representing themselves on the CT side. Is what can they do now that they have Monte, you know, a little bit rustled up, I guess, is the easiest way of putting it, right? Now that you're feeling the pressure a little bit, how do you do? Well, that's a good start if you're Goofy. It's 1 3/4 in terms of damage. In fact, a second kill. Hades has found success out towards outside. And, I mean, look, we're, what, 20 seconds into the round? Not even. And you're already walking away with 2 kills, and Waro's on 16 points of health.
Well, I'm not sure how you bail yourself out of this situation. Could give an AWP over to the CT side as well if they're not too careful. Investigating outside, Hades hasn't given up too much ground. Still sitting back of red, and Krasnal will clear close, but not round the container. And so if this isn't cleared for first kill, a little trigger discipline, Hades trying to get as much as he can out of this round, and he missed the tap, but the spray adjustments there. War was already low, so he'll be counting his lucky stars. He can still find that. Didn't even realize that was an AWP there. He just wanted to get away from those bodies, wanted to put that all behind him.
I mean, it's a very smart play from Hades. This is the experience that we're talking about. You know, not a lot of players would think about doing that in that position, Yumi, but the fact that he does do it, I think, proves incredible value, because if he goes for one, Waro probably locks him down with the AWP and gets a trade. I mean, sure, it's messy, but the fact that he's found both kills and he keeps his life, as you said, more important than anything else in that one. So you move into round 5, it's a tight game, it's an AWP on the CT side. You kind of forget the issues that Nine could have encountered had they have lost the follow-up round, and instead now, staring down the barrel of a third. It's a complete eco from Monte. Expecting Glocks to basically do nothing here. This is scheduled planning, hopefully, for Nine to make it a third. Not too much interruption, where Monte don't present much of a case in round 5.
Still got to be careful if you're Kylar. Here's all these steps outside, and if they decide to swarm him, could have done some significant damage. Kai actually takes the brunt of the aggression. He's on 13 HP. He's actually called for Hades to back him up, and so he can now start backing up himself. Flash over. Kai has a chance to escape, but will not take it.
Respect it. On those ecos, King. We'll find one more before he's dropped. SDY's Glock making a second frag. Considering 9 were down 2-0 though, Yumi, I look at the balances of the CT side, and clearly they're doing something right, you know? Getting some financial advising. I don't quite know how their money looks so good, but they've just built up banks, absolute stacks of cash. I guess you look to maybe the round history a little deeper, and obviously the previous round they survived with all 5. In this round they survived with 3. So you're kind of already building up your bank in that sense.
Also, they were setting themselves up to go for a buy in round 3, if not for the fact that they won off the saved weapons already, so... Yeah, cash in stacks.
Little bits adding up, Yumi. And for Monte, I wish you could say the same. They take deductions to their investment just to try and get some utility out there. It's a Galil in Krasnal's hands. Boros and Demka between them have a flash and a molly. It's not great. It is not great. And for Monte as well, they know how important this round is, or how important the future of these rounds can be, just because they got off to such a good start, and already that fortune fizzles out.
No one peeking from up high. L smokes from Monte, so creeping garage is certainly a play, but Kai's already accounting for this. Nestled into one of the tight corners on the right side. Kai, oh, they're not going to clear for him, and he gets 2. Demq finally there for the trade, but job is said and done, Kai knows exactly what they're up to, at least IDing one more inside of the garage, so pinned into position, Kyler will try and maintain that information, make sure it's as relevant as possible, but now still concerned about potential flank, someone slipping the net, Demq finally dealt with, and it's important that he dies first. It should mean that Woro's somewhat undetected, they don't have confirmation on his whereabouts. Still 4-on-2 from a position like this where the bomb is separating further and further from his teammate. Gonna try and link up on some kind of an A play. Oh, if he even had a teammate left.
Problem is, it's such a like deep-seated angle, right? In garage, it's like such an unorthodox one to be playing as well for Kai. Walking away with a double kill, you can see that Monte kind of go for a half check. They look in, they go, yeah, it's clear, but don't actually look to the deep end. They just check the shallow parts. And that portion is enough to give away a 4th round. 9, much to the fortune of Kai, but to sort of the cohesion and the teamwork that Kyler and mynio put up in the later parts of that round, enough to leave Woro with an AK in his hands and no money in his pockets. And if I'm honest, I don't want to say it's a selfish save because, you know, at the end of the day, it's an unwinnable scenario. I'm looking at the money for his team, and I think that this creates more issues financially than it does help, because while Woro has an AK in this round, he won't have one in the next unless if he finds something substantial.
Also becomes a hindrance because he's the AWPer. He's the one that you want to be the most financially stable.
Yeah.
He's in the biggest rut. All turns up pretty, though. All turns up roses if somehow Woro can make this AK work around the pistols, use them as a little meat shield and get all the substantial trades, but once again go for outside smokes, this time a bit more orthodox. Hades is on the stairs and ready and waiting. Krasnal is going to find that, and Woro's AK already dropped. Can be retrieved by a teammate, and they're trying to hunt down this AWP. They knew they did damage, but Young, the nade, will slow him, and they keep losing numbers. Boros finds no more success than any of his teammates. They may just survive with all 5. SDY, they know he was hunting for that AWP, and Kai went searching, and, well, when you mess around, you find out.
Teaching it the hard way, isn't it? Again, eco here for Monte. You're not expecting much. 1 kill's good enough for them. 9 happy with that result as well. They move forward and continue their spree. Monte, of course, 2-0 up, so the consecutiveness here for 9 really starting to chain together. And as I said, Nuke, one of those maps that is quite CT side. The hot hand fallacy certainly prevailing in this sense for the first few rounds of this game. Of course, small sample sizes so far, but you've got to think, really, Yumi, at the end of this round, we're over a quarter of the way through this entire game. Or rather, this over halfway through the half, I guess, is the nicer way of putting it.
Yeah. Gotta find something soon, it feels like, but, well, I mean, they just keep losing early exchanges, and Krasnal will once again fall victim, currently 0-6. Up in the way you want to start things off. Didn't have a great portion from Boros on Vertigo. Pretty non-starter for Krasnal here on map 3. Loving that Hades is changing up his angles as well, making it hard to read on where this ult will be.
I think it's so cool to see someone so agile with the big green, right? Like, he's moving around, as you said. He's always trying to create the element of unpredictability. And he's rewarded with a 2nd frag, and he gets away with his life as well. I feel like Monte needs to be quicker to these punishes, right? It's just not enough oomph behind these rifles, and they're being picked apart one by one, Yumi. That's the issue. Look at this. It's such an easy round. Goofy lining up the rest. It's another flawless job from 9. And the only 2 players that were together get sprayed down by Goofy. The rest is all individual. The rest is all solo. It feels like Monte trying to fight solo rather than as a team.
And this is why when we finished off Vertigo, I said I had to favor 9 coming into this final map, is because you looked at the strategies that Monte were trying to implement on their T side of Vertigo. They just weren't as meticulous. They weren't playing as cohesively. You know, they were very much reliant on Young to try and get something on a flank or a lurking play, and if they got gunned down in the early stages on ramp on A, they would very frequently just lose the round as a result. We got 0 T-side rounds from Monte on Vertigo, and while they've had a little bit of success here on Nuke, that all stems from the pistol round. Every round to follow up, Nine have been able to survive, keep weapons afloat, and build critical cash 6 rounds straight. And I mean, they're approaching money caps syndrome here for the CTs, where usually when you get to this point, it may as well be over. I mean, the T side, when they start answering back with rounds, they'll have to keep winning buy after buy after buy. There are no easy ones.
No, absolutely. Oh, look at this. Even the basics you're getting wrong for Monte. There's a gap in the middle of the outside smokes. Kyle spraying through and doesn't quite punish. Goofy's already made the rotation down. Smoke has to be used to extinguish the Molotov, and it is an absolute slaughterhouse towards lower. Key's hat trick. Goofy's double, a full house between the riflemen. Look at the buy for 9, Yumi. It looks like a terrorist investment. We've got 4 AKs and an AWP. You cannot argue with the success of 9. It's been consistent, it's been good, and as you said, money cap starting to be hit, and it's not even like Hades can get rid of his cash, you know, it's not even like, oh, I'll drop you an M4. We've got AKs, there's no need to make change, there's no need to make upgrade. You've got the best.
And gotta shout out Kai there, because he threw his Molotov towards front red to actually cause that gap in the smoke. You know, you're highlighting the fact that there's this massive gap, and that's because Kai threw the molly down.
Fair play.
They had to make a quick adjustment, but I mean, the damage was done. They'd already slowed to a halt, and 9 were ready with open arms. This time he will take a lot of punishment in the early stages of this. 13 HP remaining on Kai, but still alive. That's the important piece. He's getting a lot of information outside as well. No progress here from Monte, and they'll try and use a delayed timing, I think, to throw an outside execute.
Talking about how capricious the AWP is of Hades, moving around all over the shot. He's back towards ramp, back towards his safe space. And this time, narrow angles, finer margins. But we know Hades very quick on the trigger. He knows what he's doing. And, you know, Monte is a team that we said very sometimes irrational with their decision making, but no, as a team, they have the fundamentals. I'm surprised that they're not playing these rounds quicker. They're waiting a lot for this early utility. They're trying to punish in the late rounds, and look at Kylar go. A flurry of frags, left, right, good night. Monte, silence towards Squeaky as he makes it a quad kill in this round as well. And SDY, I mean, it's a nice lurk towards outside. He's found a lot of space, but he has no bomb, he has no friends, and he has no chance, no time to top it all. 20 seconds. It's another half-assed attempt from Monte, and it's one that SDY will do his best to defend, but 9 put to rest.
Oh, couple kills from SDY, and you're thinking, oh, some damage to the CT economy. They don't care. Sure, they might lose on the fact they don't have these AKs in spades, but they had more than enough funds. It's a ridiculously large piggy bank. I don't know if they got in before Apple made it big, but Monte are struggling. They are really struggling to bring anything together. These slower round plays, it's not really something you categorize with their playstyle typically, like you're sort of mentioning, you know, they're allowing this utility to sort of burn out, and they're hoping that they can execute in, but then Kyler pulls off a round like that. They may go back to going for a faster pace into vents. Demq could have tried to make the dive, but instead we'll try and run straight through. Flashes are great. Demq set up perfectly for it, and Kyler, while he does cut down Demq, access to those vents is still open. They just can't find the entrance, not quite yet. Woro diving down. SDY needs to join him. That's because he has the bomb. 2-on-4. They can get this planted over at B, but Woro has to keep them in check. They're already here to greet him, though, and SDY doesn't have a smoke, so Woro actually needs to come back.
There you go, mate. Try and cross.
Good luck.
Careful. Couple of rifles there you want to be cautious of. I guess Woro's actually trying to apply some pressure and take the eyes off of SDY. I mean, a bomb plant, you know, in most cases, you'd be so happy as maybe we are, because it's just one of those rounds that yet again, 9 know how to dismiss. And a familiar face in the kill feed of this round, Yumi. It's yet again Kylar delivering the goods. Another multi-kill, this time a hat trick. SDY, unfortunately, will try his best. In fact, Kylar will match his efforts of the last. It's 4 yet again in this round. He's on his 13th kill in 11 rounds of CS. And on a deciding map of a BO3, it says it all really, doesn't it? The kills just come in, and the comedic cherry on top in that round was, you said they wanted to go fast for a vent dive, Yumi. The nade didn't even blow open the vent door. It was actually not broken until Woro sliced it open with his knife. It's just simple things, man. And 9 just know how to counter at every step imaginable.
gotten a bit ridiculous. Goofy's even trying to nade the door open himself. If not for the fact that Monte threw a nade, would have blown that door wide open. May as well set the conditions for which Monte have to approach this round with. Nice idea to allow Demku to get the entry last round. Smoke in at door, but then flashing straight through it. I remember that from earlier days. I think even the likes of Yakindar and the Outsiders used to do it once upon a time. Get a little tee up, but not going to be enough to get Monte round wins. Boros has gotten some ground, but feet exposed, and Kylar loves a feet pick. Oof. We'll get punished with a headshot, though. Krasnal answering back, and sure, we're into a 4-on-4. Probably the closest we've seen any of these numbers advantages go. Monte, what can you make of it?
Needs to do something, don't they? Talk about money being a sixth opponent. It's just been daringness. It's been consistency. All of these factors.
Uh-oh.
We'll hear it, though. We'll hear it. And hits the shot, Hades. Are you joking? Trying to stick around for more. Maybe greed getting the better of him. Can't blame him. It was a rebellious approach to holding down ramp, but it's one that buys valuable time for these 9. Rotates the bomb, making its way back up. Kaida's trade, and the C4 dropped. IDing where that is. A more local, a more updated piece of information. Goofy now trying to hold down the fort, waiting for his teammate to rotate on in. It's a 2v2 here, Yuumi. We could be celebratory in the fact that Monte have even made it to this kind of scenario in a post plant. Got to convert from this position, though. If you want any chance of winning this game, this is time for you to at least show that you've got what it takes.
Oh, Waro thought he was safe for just a moment. And Demku, now left to his own devices, 1-on-2, bomb planted in a way that he can, of course, contest, but has to take a very wide peek. Dealing with mynio would have been the first piece of the puzzle, and at distance, he will find him. Headshot offered up, and Demku will convert a needed clutch, a 3rd round, and finally, they break this streak that 9 have gotten on the CT side. More to come. You'd have to hope here for Monte to come back into this game, but 9 will have buys to the finish of this half.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter the damage at this point. You know, 9 can go for every retake imaginable. 1v5, yeah, hell, why not, right? That's the kind of money that you're working with. And for a T side, that's so scary, so daunting to try and take on. I mean, finally, we're seeing a 3rd on the board, Yuumi, but, you know, it's all through gritted teeth at the end of the day because we know that 9 have just been putting up rock-solid numbers again and again. CT side off to a pretty decent start as well. A little bit of tag damage, but Boros and STY both susceptible to the one-tap now. And unfortunately, Key the same. It's an AK that gets up in his grill, but it's Hades to equalize.
Oh, they lined up and they were burning in the Molotov. Krasnal surviving on 6 HP. mynio did what he could, and as soon as they realized that Hades wasn't in at ramp with that AWP, they tried to take that open space. All the grid util down, and Molotov onto Waro. Don't know if it'll do too much damage, but certainly burning him out of the spot. They've got kits, they have the smokes as well, but these post plants are going to be tough to deal with. They take elevated angles on side of the site, and Demku's still in at control. Kylar trying to clear close. Door opened, and actually a meet and greet with all of his fans. Hades 1-on-2 now. And I don't think he knows that Krasnal's taken this high ground approach, actually just looking dead at it. Demku has to try and cut him down on the cross, has a kit, and actually Hades will switch out to the rifle. Hard angle to adjust for, flash in, and Demku will try and take the swing, but has to duck his head. Hades not on the defuse, and Demku knows it. He knows he has him playing like a fiddle, and while Hades tries to escape, it won't matter. Monte get a 4th.
He saved an AWP. Interesting. He could have bought one of them and brought an AK forward. Instead, playing a little more for himself. Maybe understanding that, you know what? I wouldn't have enough money for an AWP in both rounds. I'll keep it anyway. Why not? I mean, look, you can celebrate a round win for Monte, but compare the buys here, Yuumi. You know, you look at Boros. He's on an AK half armor and a single smoke. And then you look at 9. It's AWPs. It's M4s. It's a humiliating amount of utility. And it's just all these advantages. So much money built up. You just don't know how to react. And look at this damage yet again. Kylar just taking heads. Knows what he's doing. Kai will find a 4th. And look, blink and you miss it. 10 seconds into the round. Monte have a 1v4 to claw back. And Kai will have none of it. It's double digits 9.
And people will maybe look at that and think, why on earth did they go for something so quick? You know, there's been great spawn utility from 9 to get into this bomb site. Molly's at door, Molly's in hut. They know to make sure that they can counteract that rush, and it's because of that buy you were mentioning. They had SMGs. They had to try and make it work somehow, and you try and play a slow round with Mac 10s. I don't know that you're in for a good time. Maybe against a first buy from a CT side where they lack head armor, that's where you'll find the most success on more drawn-out rounds, but yeah, money has never been an issue here for 9. The way that they've been playing attack from Monte, they have to really discuss how this last round will play out and what little they can bring forward. It's going to be another, well, quite frankly, piss poor buy if we're going to be comparing sides.
Yeah. It's a vulgar way of putting it, Yumi, but, you know.
It's surprising to see Monte get handed this big L. So far on the T side, they just keep taking L after L. And I'm a little shook by it. I imagine the Monte players are as well, because we came out of map 1 saying 9 got embarrassed.
Yeah. I mean, 16-10 isn't embarrassment, but, you know, for what Monte were doing to them, I think individually, like round by round, if you're watching a game, you probably have a different perspective than if you were just, you know, checking in the scores on HLTV. I think there are 2 stories to tell for Monte's map 1, but certainly, you know, if this map ends the way it started, there is only 1 story to be told in map 3, and 9 with a reverse sweep at their fingertips. I think will be very pleasant with how they've conducted themselves in the latter part of this BO3. Goofy going to get mollied out, and listen, that molly ticked plenty of times. You knew that there was a player crossing. No one opting to punish. Instead, it's Waro with some early success towards outside.
Yeah, cutting down Kai is a big player to find, and they're going to try and transition. No one looking at the windows, no one looking at lockers, and Waro's dealt with as well. They crunch outside just before that flank hits, and now they've ID'd where the last 2 players are. Bomb dropped at the feet of the CTs, and they can swarm around it.
I get the triple push outside, but I don't think I quite agree with the bomb going with it, Yumi. Would have been better off on those ramp players. And 9 yet again teaching it the hard way. Smoke just in their faces. You can't really do much until this fades away. A molly attempt is there. Demq going to find 1, but it's all in resilience. It's all in heroics, or at least the attempt of it. Because right now, this is 9 games to lose. It's a 9 with 11 on the CT side. 5 away from putting Monte down to the lower bracket.
A resounding half from 9 on their CT side to kick off our third map in the series. Monte couldn't get anything going for the longest time, but there were embers, there were ashes burned into the legacy of what could be our last map before the lower bracket run for Monte. Demq delivering on some nice key clutches, and they need to come up big here in the pistol.
SDY gets some information. Yes, there are bodies dropping towards ramp. Yes, Boros, get ready. There's players coming your way, son, and he cannot handle the heat. Goofy getting all up close and personal with that Glock. A second kill comes from him as well. Waro, while he is good, an intermittent frag from the CT side. Look at it go. 9 towards lower have blasted apart this defense.
Oh, well, mynio is very loud-footed, and SDY was primed for that kill. Armor on SDY and full HP, so difficult fight for either 9 player to take just by themselves. Kyler will make sure to plant around the other side. Double door is not going to be exposed to it. Goofy trying to provide a little support he can. Hard crossfire to beat as well for SDY. Yes, he gets through this window. Kyler should be able to help him, but might be caught in transition. No. Goofy cuts him down just as he hears the prompts. It will be a 9 pistol round. After Monte get a couple of kills, 9 answer back in spades.
Goofy gets an ace in that round as well, Yumi. You know, if we're talking about cherries on top, we're talking about salt in the wounds, we're talking all of these funky ways of describing Monte's embarrassment. It is just that there's an ace coughed up in a round that is so critical for Monte. And now look at this investment. MP9s, a 5.7, a Deagle, a Scout. It's nothing comfy to be sitting on. Monte, barefooted on rocks, 9. Living in luxury, living in royalty.
You know who's
They're
going to
step foot.
You know who's going to feel the most royal of all? Mynio.
Go on.
6 kills, 5 deaths. Every one of his teammates was running around the map and farming out frags.
That's true. That is royalty.
Yeah. Must have felt nice winning as many rounds as they did on CT side, just going, oh, well, my services, I guess, were not required.
Yeah. So, like, I don't know. You know, people meme James for, like, saving the AWP, and it's, like, low deaths. Like, this is just one of those where Mynio isn't even like he's saving. It's not even like he's trying to, like, bring weapons into the next. It's just like he's not needed. Wherever he goes, it's like the opposite of a magnet, right? He's just a repellent to the Monte attack. Yet again, just one of those funky scenarios. 9. I mean, look, they're just dancing all over him right now, you know? We go outside, we go main, we go squeaky. Yeah, you know, Char slide right in on towards A. No defense. 3v3, admittedly, there are a couple of kills out from this CT side, but again, overwhelming amounts of pressure. There's a player on ramp. Bomb's flying on A. Kai's going for a flank. Because why not? 9 are just beaming with confidence as it's the 13th taken in their stride. SDY, half armor, scout, better brought into the next.
I don't know what's happened. You know, we went from singing the praises high and mighty about Boros in this series on Mirage, and we go into Vertigo. I'd say it was an out of ordinary performance, but Nuke has been along the same ride. Not the only one that's been lacking here for the Monte side as they try and get themselves back into this game, but it's strange that once we dive away from Mirage, we just seem to get this collapse in terms of player form, because 9 have come in sharp. I mean, they came in with a purpose when it came to Vertigo, and hell, that purpose was only reinforced when they got an 11-4 half on CT Nuke. It's got I mean, there's probably no better feeling than playing an official and getting capped out on cash on a CT half, on a decider map that has been, I mean, this series has been quite close. It's been a lot of close clutches, rounds that you don't know how to call. 9 doesn't feel like they've ever lost control.
As I say, the combination of their CT sides between Nuke and Vertigo, Yumi, I feel like I've single-handedly won on this game. Talking about the cool heads on that CT side, you know, how well they were at a certain dominance on ramp on Vertigo, to how well they're just able to exploit the Monte attack here on Nuke. Just feels impenetrable. And now 9 with such a lead, with such, I guess, confidence is the only way of putting it. They're just going to walk all over Monte. It's a ticking time bomb to send the Ukrainian core down to the lower bracket. The Polish side, hungry to end this game early. Get a good night's sleep. Get ready for tomorrow. Because Yumi, I mean, the difference-making bout here is that the winner of this game, you get 2 BO3s. You only need to win 1 to make it to IEM Brazil. The loser of this game, you have to win 2 BO3s to even get a chance
Yeah.
of qualifying for Brazil. That's the difference between the upper and lower bracket. Those small margins, 1BO3, and that's put Monte in a very difficult position in this qualifier. Good stint in this round, Demku, Krasnal, both finding frags, but again, the Shadow so overcast on this Monte defense. It doesn't matter what they do, 9 have a response.
Quick collection by Kai and Hades, and SDY out in the open. Kai can't trade, he's low HP, and he's really hoping that Hades can do better of it, but he's only slightly higher in the health department. SDY surviving for so damn long. Finally, Hades will put him to rest, but now Waro on a flank, scout in hand, taps the bomb, and Waro had no idea he'd come off it. How dare you? Hades, AWP to AWP, man to man. Waro can't stand a chance. 14 for 9.
Last bullet in the magazine kills the Tetris player. First bullet of the next mag puts 9 up to 14. And Yumi, just to reiterate my point, I was blabbering on at the beginning of this round. Monte were in a 4v3 to get this one going. And look, it still ends up in defeat. 14-4. They are 2 rounds away. It hurts my head how crazy 9 have gone in these final 2 maps. And you know, as much as we're sitting here and kind of, you know, thinking about what Monte could have done better, what could else have they have done? They have just done unbelievably well in these last 2 maps. When it becomes a tactical game, you know, Mirage, known for its aim, known for its puggy style, Monte have got them covered. But when it comes to Team CS, 9 are ahead of the curve.
Yeah, you know, we came into this series, we were talking a bit about what our predictions would be for this game, and hell, man, when teams are on the uptick, when teams are on the rise and they've been developing together, it does make a world of a difference. Sure, Hades is a recent addition, but that's the only real piece that's seen much of a shift, and I don't imagine it takes long for him to pick up the pieces. Oh, you want me here? Yeah, no problem. I'll get the kills you need. Monte haven't had that same amount of structure and time to build off of themselves. And sure, they've looked good in some of these online cups, but that's where they can just punish and play into maps that are a little bit more, well, bodies on the floor. Elevation here on Nuke and Vertigo has not been their friend. SDY knows that there's something suspicious about these smokes. We'll hope for sound cues, something that will never come, but as that smoke fades, when he clears outside, he has to imagine that Secret's occupied.
And yet again, 9 with 1:10 to go, have full lobby control.
This flank.
They have full lower control. There is a player behind. Hello, SDY turns the corner, make sure there's nothing more than 2. And brilliantly dismissed, the lower push removed, eradicated, now 9. Well, they just have to face up with what's ahead of them. It's an A-site take, it's going to be quite bare-boned as well. No smokes, no nothing to cover off these angles. I'm wondering, CT side, well, where have they gone off to? They've kind of cut all the noise with 40 seconds left, but they do not check main, and it's Krasnal that punishes. Waro swings out off the back of it, and in tandem, they're able to make it a 5th for Monte. So much more road to cover, though, if they even want to recover this 3rd map. It's basically, at this point, if you want to win, Yumi, it's 11 more consecutive rounds to put this one to rest in favor of Monte, and that's a colossal task, no matter the team.
Yeah, they've got to pull off exactly what 9 did, but do it to the nth degree, because all the success that 9 have already come into this half with is about as much as Monte saw from their T side. You know, 3 rounds coming out of this half with the pistol round and the follow-ups. Monte need to make sure that they stop right in their tracks. This will be an investment. There will be AKs out for 9. It's not across the board. Kai and Hades will be the pry bars, and they have looked sharp. But it is one thing to give your AWPer some extra funds. It's one thing to give your rifler, or to give your AWPer the only one of the few rifles you have to actually work off of in this round. Surely the guys that make it their careers using this weapon would see priority. It's the kind of faith they have in Hades.
Yeah. I mean, you know, just to comment on Hades' performance, he's 17-4, right? Individually speaking, he's good. He's not as good as Kyla, who's 22-11. Okay, never mind. It's his 5th death. Hades, eat that, son. SDY's got the opener key, or Kai, excuse me, of course, with a trade. There's a player levitating on the door. Mynio just toes on hinges, but it doesn't matter. Goofy with the AK, long distance. It's a round that is consisting of basically nothing other than an AK, Yumi, and still we're talking 3v3 scenarios. 9 are making the best out of a bad situation, and it's another kill that goes their way. mynio catching Boros out towards the locker room.
Uh-oh. Bomb gonna get cut off, though, so no linking up, no going down ramp. Kyler has to recover this, and there's 2 CTs ready and waiting. mynio has to try and make his way over. 20 HP, and sure, he's got the AK, but this is not going to be a favorable trade. They've got great positions, and Krasnal and Demq make sure it goes no further. A scary circumstance, scary round. As soon as that pathway opened up via hell, there was certainly a chance, but good contingency plan there for Monte. Lost outside control, took hut.
I'm loving it from Monte, to be fair, in that round. As you said, right, the initiative, you lose your players towards outside, you lose your CT control. You've got to go aggressive elsewhere. You've got to find this information in and about the other crevices of Nuke. Straight in towards lobby. They caught the VIP. The man could have made that round work. Had that fight have gone the other way, Yumi. Instead, silenced and put back down to pistols. Liking the initiative from Kylar, trying to get aggressive, trying to change the pace a little bit. Kai trying his best. Burst mode enabled on the Glock. Would never recommend it, even to my worst opponent. It is a terrible decision to make, and it's one that's taught to him again. 14-7. I mean, at least Monte are picking up the grounds against the pistols, but again, they're going to be tested on a full buy.
And riding a little bit more precariously on the line of being broke. Even if they start winning rounds and continue to win rounds rather with 1 or 2 survivors, eventually the coffers will run thin. And then they might just be coughing up a lung in that lower bracket. Winded by what 9 have done to them. Again, still a ways to go. Perhaps Monte can bring this closer. Double nade into main will eliminate Moro, but can't dive down the vents. Spam is on the money. Kai finally makes his presence known, and mynio will spam through the smoke. So 2 players die without even seeing who killed them. Monte down a man.
Steps in the right direction, taken by 9. They hold an advantage. Now it's just about playing for those trades. We know in such a positive position, especially when Key is in such an awkward position to clear outright, because no CT is going to dive down the vent and just go hunting naturally. Got to have a reason to go. They've still got a minute to toy with as well, so these pieces are going to get pulled all over the plot for Monte. Don't quite understand where 9 are heading in this round. Bombs towards lobby. 1 player slipped down lower. It's going to be hard. It's going to be hard, and especially with the best part of a minute to work with still. Contact by 9. The cheek of it. Kind of going to try and slip up the vents. Hades has caught Krasnal, and you do feel like the 15th was imminent. While it took maybe a little longer than expected, Yumi, I think 9 finally deliver on said killing blow. And the collateral damage should just be enough to take it to 16.
And such simple execution. You know, nade off the door, double nade main. War didn't stand a chance.
Yeah.
Chose his path and chose his fate. Sealed before the round began. Yeah, 9, great job as well, just slowing things down and looking to see if there was going to be any sort of reset from Monte. They didn't overextend, they didn't look and hunt for that information, but they did split up quite substantially. So once they got that final kill, a bomb site, there wasn't anyone there to help. Yeah, this is troubling times here for Monte. Such a confident start in this series, but 9 pulled up their socks, that is for sure. CT sides have looked great, and if all it takes is these final few to put Monte to rest, I don't know, I'm kind of here for it. They have not given us even the high-octane gameplay that maybe we were expecting and has been characterized with many members of this Monte squad. It has been... They got stopped every time they tried to go fast, and so they had to play slow, and that just didn't seem like their forte. Last chance saloon. 8 rounds in a row to force overtime. Not even guaranteeing that they win this map. 9 have secured at least the safety net in that OT. War won't start off the same way he did the round prior, instead instigating action. mynio's dropped.
Maybe a bit of a hotter take, Yumi, for you here that I'm about to blurt out, but I feel like Monte started on the CT side. Scoreline, I want to say would have been a lot closer than maybe what Nine are about to project on us
Yeah,
here. I know
perhaps.
sounds a bit silly because we were talking about how well Nine did on their CT side. But you got to understand, right? Like, Monte are in this position. They're finding a lot of 5v4s. They're finding a lot of confidence on this CT side. And that's something that they struggled so much with on the T side. Look at Boros go. Naturally a rifleman. This time, using his eyes and his scope to find the kills. Down to a 4 versus 2. I mean, at least, yeah, gain call, trades coming out of 9. But they're 16s. Halted for another round. And looking at the money, it's going to be an awkward investment in the next if they can't make this work.
I like the point you raise about who started which side and the pressures that applies. Monte are in a position now where there is going to be a fear of failure. Taking a risk can be much larger when you know that if that risk doesn't pay off, you could just lose your team the game. Kyler's really trying to milk as much as he can out of this round. Wara's got a nice off angle though, and Kyler won't expect it. So it will be the AWPs that reign high here for Monte to hold on to an 8th round, whether it's Boros on that secondary or Waro up to his usual antics. Hard to read, but now they'll have an idea that maybe Boros will shift into that AWP should they be able to afford it continuously. Some pretty heavy casualties, and they weren't able to retrieve that big green. So Boros will be left to an A1S, and hell, I feel like I said it before, but this map has not been treating Boros well.
No. After the first map, it feels like Counter-Strike hasn't been treating him well, Yumi. Has been difficult. I mean, very surprised that he even decided to go for a double AWP setup on the CT side, and I'm even more surprised that it worked so well. That's why, though, Waro taking the AWP, taking it right out of his hands, single setup, but that is a vent dive. And Hades has caught out DemQ, an overextensive push, as 9 putting numbers even. Sure, SDY gets his hands on mynio, and the AWP finding a tag up as well. But it is a 3 versus 3, and not to mention the Monte pieces are scattered all over the plot right now. Tech9 against the M4, and we were talking about Boros. He can't hit another shot, and that's the most critical fight of the lot.
Smoke at the door, and the bomb is dropped on the other side of the vents. When they tried to go for the dive, it somehow didn't go down the vents. Instead, it's close main. Not sure that Monte fully know that this is the case. Player from Heaven must have spotted it, and actually crossing, I think War's been trying to double confirm, and that will get him killed. Kai cuts him down, and so 16 found here by 9. They'll continue in the upper bracket. They'll get 2 swings at it. Monte shut down, and they never showed up past Mirage. It felt like Vertigo, this elevation from both these maps that Nuke and Vertigo provide, wasn't enough. They just couldn't piece it together.
I think disappointment is a word that can very easily be thrown at this Monte side, but I just want to talk about map 1 a little bit more because they look really good, right? On